here we are. This is Mike Lodge. I'm glad that you're with me. This is a Sunday. So this podcast is being produced on a Sunday. And Sundays are these days where we're supposed to sit back and rest and relax and take some time off, be with family, have a good dinner. I have a chicken in my crock pot at the moment cooking. It should be really good. But I was thinking, over the course of this last week, it was a tough week. Last week was a tough week because I tell you, when you see those inflationary numbers come in and you know that in your own life that your dollars just are not going as far as they used to, and what you are spending money on, you're getting less of. And that really frustrates me. And it frustrates me to know that individuals out there are having this same problem, and yet we have no one taking care of it. So when you have these down moments, right, you begin thinking about the past, and up came in my mind, because just like everybody else, I'm this weak human that when we have down moments, we think of the past. And I started to think about a business partner that I used to have. And he had done something that was really quite illegal. And it affected me, it affected my clients, but we didn't know what was going on. And that was the sad part. We did not know that this stuff was going on. And I started thinking about that situation. I started thinking about him, and I started thinking about his family, and I was remembering every detail of what happened. It was chaos, and it was something that affected me greatly. And that's why I talk about ethics so much in my podcast and in my blogs and Twitter and every place else. I'm always bringing up ethics. But we get to these low moments in our life, and I'm sure that some of you are at that low moment too, where you're thinking about stuff and what you should have said and what you shouldn't have done, and the whole gamut of stuff that goes around and around in our minds. Because we're humans. That's how we are. I sat down, and I've told this story before in my podcast, but Zindzi Mandela used to be my client, who was the daughter of Nelson Mandela. And one night we were sitting and we were talking, and she told me that when her father came out, you see, when her father was in prison for all those years, she was out there, and she was a fighter, and she was giving speeches, and she was fighting against the South African government, and she was doing all of this in the name of her father, and she was mad and she was angry and she wanted to get things done. When her father finally came out of prison, she sat down with her father and she says, okay, now we can go ahead and start fighting again. And he says, whoa, wait a minute. We have to heal this nation. We have to forgive. And he has a quote that I always remember. And it goes like this. It says, when a deep injury is done to us, we never heal until we forgive. Nelson knew that what was done to him was wrong. He could have come out vindictive and started to attack again the government and doing all the things he had done prior to him being in jail. But he said in his mind and in his heart that I need to forgive and I need to heal myself and I need to heal the nation. And he became the president of South Africa. Zindzi told me that was a hard thing to take because she had not forgiven. She wanted to go out and fight. She wanted to continue on with the fight. But the father said, no, forgive. And I've told this other story once before. I was talking to a friend, and we were talking about forgiveness. And he says, Mike, you know what you have to do because you will remember that incident over and over and over again. When you get to the lowest point of your life or of the day or of the moment, you're going to remember that incident. You're going to remember a whole bunch of incidents, and you're going to be hashing it around in your mind, and you're going to start saying to yourself, I should have said this, I should have done that, and the list goes on, right? Unfortunately, you can't go back and change that, but you can do one thing to move forward, and that is to forgive one more time. So he said, Mike, you know what you have to do? You have to look up and you have to say, God, help me to forgive one more time. Lord, help me forgive one more time. Now, in business, we are going to have a whole bunch of failures, and we're going to have a whole bunch of bad people that we meet, and we are going to hash that around in our mind over and over and over again. But the most important thing is that if we are strong people, I think there was a saying. I think it goes something like this. I think it goes, maybe strong people are not the ones who overcome and forget, but those who forgive and remember. And it's very true, because we are going to forgive and we're going to remember again later on, because that's how we are as human beings. In business, we're going to have a whole bunch of situations like that. But if we do not forgive and move forward, that business will never gain momentum again. And that's what happened to me. I knew that I had to do something different. This tragedy had happened to my business, and I had to do something new and something different. I could not just sit back and feel sorry for myself. I could not condemn the individual who had done it. That was going to waste my time. And to this day, I have forgiven him. And I know that he's going to go on and do other great things in his life. He's learned his lesson. A tough lesson it was. But you see, I think that probably he's made his peace with God. And I have made my peace with God. And I know that as a human, I'm going to have to forgive him one more time, because it's going to come up in my mind at some other point. I tell you when it happens. I'll tell you how difficult this situation was, is that every year I have to go and I have to take 25 hours of continuing education classes in taxation to keep my license. And part of the units in that course is ethics. Now, when we get to the ethics part, who do you think they use in that lesson? Yes, they use my former partner. They use him as an example of ethics in the industry that we're in. And it's not just a short lesson, it is a long lesson on ethics. And I have to live through that one more time, because I don't want to change my course material, because they're a good course company. I like them. But I have to see it one more time. And the good thing about it is that other tax individuals, tax professionals see that too and learn from that lesson. It's amazing to me that we as human beings, we can let things dwell in our life forever, but that's how we are. We're just human. But it's that part of forgiveness that, yes, we forgive, but we have to forgive one more time. In business, if you don't forgive, you're not going to get on to that next part of life. You're not going to get on to that next project, that next new company, that next new technology. If you sit there and feel sorry for yourself, you see, you can forgive, but you're still going to remember. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. That's how we are. That's how we're made up. And maybe we remember because we have to forgive again, because we have to keep that in our mind, that what happened and it was wrong. And maybe we can teach other people about forgiveness. I tell you, when I go to bed at night, I pray 3 things. One, God, forgive me for my sins. God, help me to forgive. And 3, help me to teach forgiveness. Those are the 3 things, the first things that come out of my mouth when I pray to God each and every single night. Because I feel that it's important that I forgive daily. I have to ask for forgiveness daily because I am the guy who screws up. You are the girl who screws up. Sometimes we get into these situations that we don't want to be in, but we're there and we made a bad decision and we have to say, okay, Lord, forgive me. I see this so much when I do mediation work for divorced families and there are children. And people want to come into these mediation sessions and they want to beat each other up. They want to tell each other how bad they are and what they did. But as a mediator, I have to say, no, let's focus on what needs to be accomplished today. Because you have a child. And we have to come to a decision together on what we're going to do and how we're going to treat that child and how we're going to care for that child. So forget about what has happened and let's focus on what the issue is today and resolve it. We're always going to have to forgive. In business, we have to forgive. In churches, we have to forgive. In politics, we have to forgive. But when we forgive, we also learn a lesson that we should not get involved in that. It's life. That is part of life. So this Sunday, we talk about forgiveness. Because I promised God that I would talk about and teach people to forgive. And to let you know that you're going to have to forgive one more time. This is Mike Lodge, the business advisor. And if you would like to have more access to me and schedule sessions with me on a one-on-one basis, you can go to www.lodge-co.com. Again, that's www.lodge-co.com. It will be in the body of this podcast. If you want to help me out and donate money to this podcast and help me out, go to www.buymeacoffee.com/Michael Lodge. Now, what's good about there is if you go there, you're going to see a whole bunch of blogs that I do on taxation, I do on business, I do on the politics of business, because a lot of things that happen in Congress affect our businesses and our personal finance. So I go over a lot of those different things. So they're all there. You can sit there and have a beautiful day reading. I sometimes post my favorite vlogs from YouTube, because I love travel vlogs, so I watch them and I share them with you because I want you to go someplace with me too. But that's a good place there to have a little bit of information. I talk about taxation. I talk about PPP loans. I talk about what did I talk about on Friday? Oh, I talked about the CPI, the inflation, and what makes up the inflationary numbers. It's all there for you. Again, that's www.buymeacoffee.com/Michael Lodge. I'll talk with you soon. Everybody have a great Sunday. Make something good to eat. Remember to share it with me. Remember, I'm a hungry guy. I'm single. I need food. Talk with you soon. God bless. Bye-bye.